How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Kuf Yud Aleph, Daf 111 of Ksubis, friends. Yo, friends. Today's Gevaldik. We talk about Eretz Yisrael, and also we're going to see today a humongously famous Gemara. It's like the source of huge debate about should the Yidden be in Eretz Yisrael now. It's like this is the Gemara, like the people who say, right, the argument about like the Neturei Karta that Dafka the Yidden being in Eretz Yisrael is a bad thing, and all this kind of stuff. Today we're going to see the sugya, not just today, right now we're going to see it. So here we go. And Daf Kuf Yud Amud Beis. So Daf Kuf Yud Alpha, we're going to start in Daf Kuf Yud Amud Beis, 2 lines to the bottom. Big page today. So, that is a big page. So we're going to have to keep things moving, okay? Got it? Good. Let's go weiter. So we're going to start in Daf Kuf Yud Amud Beis, 2 lines from the bottom. Reb Zeire. So we saw this Gemara in Shabbos. We're in Shabbos. And Daf Mem Aleph. Oh, also I have a cold. So 1 second. I'm going to blow my nose. 1 second. So Reb Zeire, have a Kumashtamet Minid Rav Yehuda. So Reb Zeire was the Talmud of Rav Yehuda, but Reb Zeire wanted to move to Eretz Yisrael. And Rav Yehuda didn't want him to move to Eretz Yisrael. He was not into people making aliyah. So Reb Zeire, because he wanted to move to Eretz Yisrael, he was avoiding his Rebbe Rav Yehuda. The Balamesa Eretz Yisrael, because Reb Zeire wanted to make aliyah. The Amr Rav Yehuda, Kol Olam Mibavel Eretz Yisrael over Be'eseh. And Rav Yehuda's opinion was that anybody who makes aliyah, anybody who moves from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael is violating a mitzvah essay. Shneimar, as the pasuk says, Bavel Yuvo, V'Shomer Yiyu, that they will go to Babylon and they will remain dartin ad yom pakti osam num Hashem, until I remember them, come back to them, appoint them the word of the Eibishter. Whereas Reb Zeire says, if you look in the context of the pasuk over there, it's talking about the klesharis, the service vessels of the temple, not the Yidden. Rav Yehuda, Ksiv Krachvina. Rav Yehuda says, yeah, but we have another pasuk that says, Hishbaiti eschim benos Yerushalayim, that daughters of Jerusalem, I have made you swear, b'tzvos or ba'alos asodeh, like the deers and the gazelles or something, v'gomer. And it says, Dard im ta'iru v'im ta'oriru, that, don't get too excited, don't come back to Eretz Yisrael so fast. Reb Zeire ahu shelo ya'alu Yisrael b'choma. And Reb Zeire says, no, that just means, and here we go, shelo ya'alu Yisrael b'choma, that the Yidden shouldn't come back to Eretz Yisrael as a unit, as a national movement, to say that we're moving back to Israel and re-establishing the Yidden in Eretz Yisrael as a nation. But for Reb Zeire, one Yidela to move to Eretz Yisrael, that's a different story. Rav Yehuda Hishbaiti Achrino Ksiv, whereas Rav Yehuda says, yeah, but it says right, Hishbaiti a number of times, right? Hishbaiti Eschim, there's a number of psukim that mention it. So Rav Yehuda says one of those other psukim means Shelo Ya'al Yisrael B'choma. Reb Zeire Ahumi Ba'ilei Reb Yossi B'Reb Chanina. But Reb Zeire says, look, all these Hishbaitis, we need all of them like Reb Yossi B'Reb Chanina the Omar, that he says, and here's the famous Gemara, the Shalosh Shvuos. Gimel Shvuos Halalu Lama. How come the psukim say Hishbaiti Eschem 3 times? Achash lo yailu Yisrael b'choma. One is to teach that the Yidden shouldn't come back to Eretz Yisrael as shouldn't sort of force the return back to Eretz Yisrael as a national movement. Ve'achash she'eshbi'a kodesh baruch hu es Yisrael shelo yimrudu b'umas ha'olam, and that the Eibishter made the Yidden swear that they wouldn't rebel against the nations of the world. Ve'achash she'eshbi'a kodesh baruch hu es ha'ovdei kochavim, and thirdly that the Eibishter made the ovdei kochavim, the idolaters, swear shlo yishtaibdu boin bisa yosur midai, that they should take it easy, a shtickle on the Yidden, that they shouldn't be too harsh to us. So okay, let's go weiter. Rav Yehuda, and Rav Yehuda says im ta'iru v'im ta'oru ksiv. Yeah, but it says a double lashon of im ta'iru v'im ta'oru, right, to teach not just these three shvuos, but also that in addition, that even just regular individuals shouldn't go back to Eretz Yisrael. Reb Zeire mi'ba'ilei lichdeb Levi, whereas Reb Zeire, what he does with im ta'iru v'im ta'oru, it's like Reb Levi the Omar sheish shvuos halalu lama. Why does it? What's with these, like, right? It says the 6 shvuos, meaning we have these 3 psukim where it mentions Shvuah, but it also says Ta'iruvim Ta'orus, which is like a double lashon, so 3 times 2. So Tlasa Hani Da'amar, and we have the 3 that we just mentioned. Enoch and the remaining 3 Shelo Yigalu Esakates, that the Nevi'im should not reveal what will be at the end of days. V'shelo Yirchaku Esakates, that the Yidden shouldn't delay Mashiach coming by sinning. They shouldn't reveal the secrets to the idolaters. That could be like the secrets of like the new moons and the months and things like that. Or what was the other things that it could be? I don't know, different. Soda Ibor. Some say, the secrets of the Torah. Vitzvos of Ailos Asoda, like the deers and the gazelles or something. Amr Belazar, Amrlem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yisrael, the Eibishter says to the Yidden, Im atem mekaymen es hashvuah, mutav, if you're going to, upkeep these swears, these oaths, givaldig v'imlav, and if not, animates b'sarchim, kitzvos v'chaylos asodeh, I'm going to make your flesh hefker, like the deers and the gazelles of the field that I guess they like get eaten up and devoured by lions and stuff. So that is the famous Shalosh Shvuos. So we see there that one of the that the shvuos are that the Yidden should not as a nation move back to Eretz Yisrael, and they shouldn't rebel against the Umas Ha'olam. But the counter argument is that the third shvuah is that the Eibishter made the Ovdei Kochavim swear that they wouldn't give us too hard of a time, and that hasn't exactly been the case per se either. So the argument is that maybe the shvuas, we shouldn't be have to upkeep our side if the other side isn't upkeeping their side, upholding their side. I believe that that's the arguments over there. Interesting stuff. Amr Belazar says, Belazar Kol Hadar Be'Eretz Yisrael, a fellow who lives in Eretz Yisrael, Shali below Avon, so he doesn't have any sin. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Uval Yomer Shekein Chalisi Ama Yoshev Ba, and that the neighboring people will say that the nation who lives in Eretz Yisrael, Nesu Avon, that they don't get have any sin. Amr Le Ravina Levashi says, Ravina Tavashi Onan Besov Lechaloi Masinullah. We say that that's talking about people who get disease and get sickness, that people get disease and get sickness, they don't have any sin. Okay, I guess like it wipes away the sin or whatever. Okay. Amr of Anon says, Rav Anon, wait 1 second, I should blow my nose again, excuse me. So it says, Rav Anon, Kol HaKover B'Eretz Yisrael, anybody who's buried in Eretz Yisrael, Ki'ilu Kover Tachas Mizbeach, it's like he's buried beneath the altar in the temple. It says, by the altar, Mizbach Adom Taiseli, you should make for me an altar of earth, and his earth will the earth will atone for his nation. So anybody who's buried in Eretz Yisrael, it's like he's buried on the Mizbech. Ula would very often go from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael, and he ended up dying in Chutz La'aretz. Also, they told Rebbe Elazar that Ula died in Chutz La'aretz. Omar, and he says, Ant Ula, Ahadmas Tmei Tamus, Ula, what, you're going to die in an impure land? Amrlo, they said to Rebbe Elazar, Arono Ba, don't worry, his coffin is coming, he'll be buried in Eretz Yisrael. Amrlo, he said to them, Enodome Kolatz Mechaim, the Kolatz Lachrim. It's not the same when you were in Eretz Yisrael, when you were alive, than when you're only brought here after your death. There was a certain fellow that his brother passed away in Beit Chozah, outside of Eretz Yisrael, and his widow was, there was a Yibum situation. So now this fellow is in Eretz Yisrael, and his Yivama is in Chutz La'aretz, in Beit Chozah. Also, so the fellow came for B'chanina, Amar Ma'u the Meichos Liyabmo. So he asked, can I go to Beit Chozah in Chutz La'aretz to do Yibum? Amar B'chanina replies, Achiv Nasa Kusis Vameis, Baruch HaMakom Sha'arago, for Yerid HaCharav. If a fellow marries a Kusis, so, and then he dies. Okay, he deserved it. What? Now the brother is going to go and do Yibum, right? I think the point there is that we said yesterday, somebody lives in Chutz La'aretz, it's like he's doing Avodah Zarah. So, it's the equivalent to, his brother was doing Avodah Zarah, basically. So what? You're going to go now and do Yibum with his wife? with his widow. Amr Yehuda, Amr Shmuel. Just like it's forbidden to leave Eretz Yisrael to go to Bavel, you also can't go from Bavel to other places. Because Bavel is Geshmak, more Geshmak than other places. Rabbi Rav Yosef Damit Havayu, say Rabbi Rav Yosef, you shouldn't even go from Pumbedisa to Bechove. Pumbedisa, where was that great yeshiva of Pumbedisa, you shouldn't go to Bekove. I would not fuck me Pumbedisa to Bekove. Shamtir Rav Yosef. There was a fellow who went from Pumbedisa to Bekove, and Rav Yosef excommunicated the fellow. I would not fuck me Pumbedisa to Estonia. A certain fellow left Pumbedisa and went to Estonia, Shachav, and he died there in Estonia. Rabbi Ibaya Tub Merbanon Havachai. And Abai says, look, if this fellow wanted, he could have stayed alive by remaining in Pumbedisa. Rabbi Rav Yosef Damat Havayu, Ksherin Shev Bavel, Eretz Yisrael Kolatzon. Rabbi and Rav Yosef say that the kosher people, the Gevaldiga people of Bavel, they will be accepted by Eretz Yisrael. Ksherin Shev Sharatzos, Bavel Kolatzon, and the upstanding individuals of other places, Bavel will receive them. Lamai, what are we talking about receiving? If you're going to say Yuchsin, that Kilu, the people of good lineage in Bavel will be acceptable in Eretz Yisrael. But we said that all of in terms of lineage, all the other lands are considered all mishkababbled, compared to Eretz Yisrael, where things are more misudar, more organized. Eretz Yisrael, Isla Bavel. But compared to Bavel, Eretz Yisrael is more mishkababbled than Bavel. So what do you mean that the upstanding people of Bavel would be acceptable in Eretz Yisrael? It should be punkt fakir. The upstanding people of Eretz Yisrael would be acceptable in Bavel because Bavel has the best lineage, a lineage kavur. Rather, with regard to burial, that the upstanding people of Bavel would be able to be buried in Eretz Yisrael, no problem. I'm going to review this as a view called Darbe Bavel. Anybody who lives in Bavel, Ki'ilu Darbe Eretz Yisrael. It's like he lives in Eretz Yisrael. Can you imagine? Shneimar, as the pasuk says, Hoitzion himalti yosheves baz Bavel. Woe, Zion, escape those who live in Bavel. So we see comparing Zion to Bavel. Abai says, Abai naktinon Bavel lochazia chevdel Mashiach. That we say that Bavel will not see the birth pangs of the Messiah. Tirgma Ahutzol de Binyamin. They say that specifically referring to Hutzol de Binyamin. Because they kind of the Sheizvas, and they call it the corner of salvation. It's interesting. Meaning we're saying that Bavel is like Eretz Yisrael. Now, yeah, it's interesting because right now Bavel is Iraq. There's not much going on in Iraq. Like, is Iraq still a special place? I would imagine not. Yeah, I recently saw a video on YouTube of Lipa Schmelzer going to, he went back to Iraq, to Pumbedisa and those places. There's nothing going on over there. You know, it doesn't, I don't know, you watch it and I watched it and I kind of felt like, I don't know, why go back? I mean, I guess for like nostalgic reasons, for like, you know, sentimental value, go to the places where like the Amoraim were. I mean, that's pretty cool, but like, it feels like there's like not much going on in Bavel right now. It feels like, okay, we moved on, we left. And it feels like, okay, there's nothing inherently valuable to Bavel, yet over here, I don't know, if you're just saying called Darbe Bavel, Ki'ilu Darbe Eretz Yisrael. Anybody who lives in Babylonia, he brings a pasuk, you know, that compares Zion to Bavel. I mean, where's this pasuk from? It's from Zechariah. So I don't know, is there any inherent value in Bavel? I don't know, what do you guys think? Fine. Maybe I'll blow my nose. Oh, excuse me. The dead of outside Eretz they don't get brought back to life. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, "V'nasati tzvi be'eretz chaim." Eretz shetzivyoni ba, that the place where what was tzvioni again? I don't know, where like my favor or something. So the land where my favor is, that's where there will be life. But Mesim Chaim, that's where they come back to life. She'ein tzvioni ba. But where I don't, my favor is not, so then they will not come back to life. Rabbi Bamamel asks, Yichyu Mesecha Nivlosi Yukumun. My love, Yichyu Mesecha Mesim Sheberetz Yisrael. When it says Yichyu Mesecha, it's referring to the dead of Eretz Yisrael. Nivlosi Yukumun Mesim Shebechutz La'aretz. When it says Nivlosi Yukumun, it's a reference to the dead of Chutz La'aretz. So that implies that the dead of Eretz Yisrael and of Chutz La'aretz will come back to life. So then what do you do with the pasuk of V'nasati tzvi b'eretz chaim, which Rabbi Elazar meant to say that were understood to mean that only the Mesim of Eretz Yisrael have Tchias HaMesim, and Nebuchadnezzar Udichsev. Well, that pasuk is referring to Nebuchadnezzar, the Amar Rachmana, that the Eibishter says, Maisino, Olayu Malku de Kolil Kitabya, that will bring upon the Yidden a king who is as swift as a deer. Amalei Rebbe, so Rabab Marmamel, wait, where am I? Okay, yeah, fine, okay. So Amalei Rebbe Mikra Acher Ani Dorish. So Rabbi Elazar says to, right, exactly. So Rabbi Bar Mamel had learned out something else from Rabbi Elazar's pasuk. Rabbi Elazar had the pasuk of V'nosati Tzvi B'Etz Chaim. Rabbi Bar Mamel learned something else from that pasuk. So Rabbi Elazar says to Rabbi Bar Mamel, he says, Mikra Acher Ani Dorish. I have another pasuk. Nosi Neshama La'amaleo V'ruach L'hochim Ba. That I will give a soul to the nation in Eretz Yisrael and a spirit to those who walk there. Ve'ela akasuv ve'ela hoksiv nivlasi yikumen. But Rabbi Elazar, what do you do with nivlasi yikumen, which Rabbi Mamamel understands to be referring to the Mesim of Chutz La'aretz having Tchias HaMesim? How ben Nefalim udichsev? That's a reference. No, it's referring to Eretz Yisrael, but referring to Nefalim to I think what that means is babies that die like within 30 days. What does Rabbi Mamamel do with the pasuk that says that he gives a soul to those who are in Eretz Yisrael? So he needs it like a babo, amar babo, afilu shifcha kanainis sheberetz Yisrael, even a shifcha kanainis in Eretz Yisrael, muftach lo shehi bas ha'olam haba, she's guaranteed to be a daughter of the world to come. It says here, La'am Aleh, to the nation upon Uchsiv Hasam, Shvulachim Poyim Achomer, that it says by Kedas Yitzchak, that you stay here with the donkey, Am Adom El Chomer, a nation that is compared to Chomer, referring to the Gentiles, and so it says Am in both, so even a Shivcha Knainis will be Zoche to Tchias HaMesim, and Sifcha Knais in Eretz Yisrael will be Zochet to Tchias HaMesim. What do you do with the pasuk of a spirit to those who walk in Eretz Yisrael? Anybody who walks 4 cubits in Eretz Yisrael, for Amos in Eretz Yisrael, Muftach Loshu ben Olam Haba, he is guaranteed to be a son of the world to come. Rabbi Elazar, tzaddikim shebechutz la'aretz einam chaim. So 1 second. So Rabbi Elazar really holds that the tzaddikim in chutz la'aretz will not have tchias hamesim. Amar Rabbi Ila, says Rabbi Ila, I did gilgul, that the mesim in chutz la'aretz will have tchias hamesim, but they will have to roll all the way to Eretz Yisrael. I mean, okay, it doesn't sound like so much fun. Maskif la Rabbi Abba Sala Rava gilgul tzaddikim tsar hu. But rolling for the tzaddikim would be unpleasant. There will be pathways in the ground. That there will be pathways in the ground. They'll be able to travel in the pathways. Okay. Now it says by Yankif that Yaakov Avinu says, "Take me from Egypt and bring me back to Eretz Yisrael and bury me into the Maris Machpelah." Omer Karna says, Karna Devarim Bego. He says, I don't really understand. Yodeo Yaakov Avinu Tzadikim Gomer Shetzadik Gomer Hoyer. Yaakov Avinu knew that he was an absolute tzaddik, righteous individual. And if the dead of Chutz La'aretz come back to life and have Tchias HaMesim, so why did he burden everybody to bring him back to Eretz Yisrael? He'll get Tchias HaMesim even from Chutz La'aretz, from Mitzrayim. So he's concerned that maybe he wouldn't be able to get access to those pathways to be able to get back to Eretz Yisrael in the pathways. And similarly, Vayash Yosef as Bnei Yisrael Gomer, that Yosef made the Yidden swear, Amr Chanina, Devarim Bego, says we have to understand, Joseph knew that he was a righteous individual, and if the dead of Chutz La'aretz will have Tchias HaMesim, so why did he burden his brothers to take him back to Eretz Yisrael? He was concerned that maybe he wouldn't be married to those pathways. So Rabba's brothers sent him. That Yaakov Avinu knew that he was a tzaddik omer, and yet he still insisted that he be brought back to Eretz Yisrael. So they were trying to convince, Rabba's brothers were trying to convince him to leave Pumbedisa and come to Eretz Yisrael. Ilfa would additionally add that there was a Maisa, and a certain fellow who really wanted to marry a certain woman in Chutz La'aretz, and he thought to make Yeridah, to move to Chutz La'aretz so he could marry this woman. Came to Shama Kazos, but when he heard, that Yaakov Avinu, Davka, wanted to come back to Eretz Yisrael, Gilgal Ba'atzma Yomoso, he was able to control himself, and he didn't move to Chutz La'aretz, and he stayed in Eretz Yisrael until the end of his days. And Rabba's brothers then said to him, even though, Babylon, too late, missed the pause. Okay. Even though you are a great scholar, still, Rabba, it's not the same, learning on your own than learning from a teacher. And if you're going to say that there is no teacher, there is a teacher. Umanu, Rabbi Yochanan, come to Eretz Yisrael, and you can learn from Rabbi Yochanan. And if you're not going to move to Eretz Yisrael, well, just be careful with the following three things. Al tarbi b'yeshiva, don't sit too much. Yeshiva kosher tachtonios, because you get hemorrhoids. Al tarbi b'amida, don't stand too much. She amida kosher l'lev, because it's bad for your heart. Al tarbi b'alicha, and don't walk too much. Alicha kosher l'nayim, because walking too much is bad for your eyes. Rather, a third of your time should be standing, a third walking, a third sitting. Wait, what? A third sitting, a third standing, a third walking. Any sitting that doesn't also have leaning associated with it. Okay. It's better to stand. What? Really, to stand? You said standing is bad for the heart. Sitting without leaning, without like a back on the chair? The truth is, my chair doesn't have such a geshmaka back. So better that you should stand while leaning than sit without leaning. Alright. They also said, I guess Rabba's brothers also said to him, Yitzchak v'Shimon v'Oshaya Amud Devarecha, that Yitzchak, Shimon, and Oshaya said, Halacha Rabbi Yehuda, that the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda beprodos when it comes to mules. The Tanya Rabbi Yehuda Omer says Rabbi Yehuda, Pirda, when it comes to a mule, Shetava, that she wants to mate, we don't mate a mule with a horse nor with a donkey, because we're unclear, if she's more horse or more donkey. Elamina, rather mate with another mule. Alright, is that even possible? I thought mules can't mate. I don't know. Amr Nachman by Yitzchak, Zerib Yitzchak Nafcha, Shimon, Zerib Shimon ben Pazi, V'amilo Rish Lakish, Oshaya, Zerib Oshaya Bribi. That when we said Yitzchak, Shimon, and Oshaya, it's referring to Rabbi Yitzchak Nafcha, and Shimon is either Rabbi Shimon ben Pazi or Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, and Oshaya is Rabbi Oshaya Bribi. Amr Belazar says Rabbi Belazar, Ami Aratzos, Einun Chaim, that Ama Aratzes, people who are not learned, they do not get Tchias HaMesim. Shneimar, as the pasuk says, Mesim Bal Yichyu V'gomer, that the dead will not come alive. Tanya Am Yachu, also in the Brisa, Mesim Bal Yichyu, that says that the dead will not come alive. Yachol HaKol, does it mean that there will not be any Tchias HaMesim for anybody? Tamalam Refaim Bal Yokumu, that the weaker ones will not come to life. Bimrapa Atzmo Midivei Torah. It's somebody who makes himself weak from studying Torah. He's an Amma Aretz HaKosum Medaber. That's what it's talking about. Rabbi Yochanan says Rabbi Lazar, Lo nichel marayu de amat lu hachi. No, says Rabbi Yochanan that's no good. It's talking about hudichsev. It's talking about somebody who's doing avodah zarah, not somebody who's not studying Torah. Rabbi Lazar says, but I have another pasuk. The pasuk says, Kital oros talecha, that the dew of lights is your dew. The eretz refarim tapil, and anybody who is involved in the light of Torah, like us at Babylon Talmud, or Torah Mechayos, and the light of Torah brings him to life. And someone who does not study Torah, is not involved with the light of Torah, Ein or Torah Mechayos, and the light of Torah does not bring him back to life. When Rabbi Lazar saw that Rabbi Yochanan was not digging these explanations, so Belazar says to Rabbi Yochanan, look, but don't worry, I found a solution for the Ami Haaretz, min Torah, from the Torah, Ba'atamat Vekim, B'Hashem Elokechem, Chaim Kulchem Hayom. The pasuk says that you are davuk, clinging to the Eibishter your God, you are all alive today. Is it possible to cling to the Shechina? If it says that the Eibishter is a all-consuming fire, but it means that a fellow who there are things that you can do to get close to Hashem. You can marry your daughter to a Torah scholar, and somebody who does business on behalf of Talmidei Chacham, that the Talmidei Chacham have some money, they give it to the fellow, and the fellow invests it and makes them a geshmaka return. Or somebody who benefits Talmidei Chacham from his property, and the Eibush, it's treated as if he is clinging to the divine. Similarly, to love God and to cling to Him. Is it possible to cling to the divine? Anybody who marries his daughter to a Torah scholar, somebody who invests money for Torah scholars, somebody who benefits the Torah scholars from their property, it's as though they are clinging to the divine. That in the future the righteous are going to just like sprout up in Jerusalem. As the Apostle says, that they will sprout up in the city like the grass of the ground. And the city is a reference to Jerusalem. As the Apostle says, that I will protect this city, a reference to Jerusalem. That the righteous, they will come back to life in their clothing. And we make a kavachomer from wheat. A kernel of wheat, a wheat seed that is planted and buried essentially naked. It comes up, it sprouts up with all sorts of layers. Tzaddikim who are buried in their clothing, certainly they will sprout with all sorts of, with their clothing, with layers. Then the future Eretz Yisrael is going to, right, from the ground will sprout loaves of bread and fine garments. Shneimar Pasuk says, "Pisas bar ba'aretz," and pisas is like your hand, right? And bread that's like your hand is loaves of bread. Okay, and pisas is also like ksonas pasim, so reference to garments. The rabbis tell you, pisas bar ba'aretz b'osharim amu. In the future, stalks of wheat are going to be like palm trees. That's big. And they will be at the top of the mountains. Maybe you're going to say, well, that's not so good because it's going to be very difficult to harvest it. The Eibusher is going to bring wind and blow the wind, and the flour is just going to rain down from these enormous stalks of wheat. And a fellow just goes out to the field and he just, scoops up flour from the field. And from that he can support himself and his family. It says in I believe it's from Parshas Vayechi. It said, no, this is what? This is from Hazinu. With the Amru Asida Chita Shetehei Kishtei Kleil Shel Shor Gadol, that in the future wheat, a kernel of wheat, is going to be like the kidneys of a large ox. And it's not so crazy. That there was actually a recorded incident where there was in our times there was a turnip that was so large that a ox made a home in it. Shaklu umatsubo shishim litrin shel tziporu, and they took this turnip, and even after the fox had furrowed and built a home inside, it was still 60 tziporian litras. Tanya, we learn in Brayso. Rabbi Yossi says, that there was a story in Shichin that a fellow, his father left for him 3 stalks of mustard, nifshach, and then it branched. Right, there was like a branch that emerged from it. Echad man from one of them. Tisha kav and chardol, and there were 9 calves worth of mustard. Ve'etzav sichubo, sukas yotzin, and they were able to use the wood to make a roof for I don't know, sukas yotzin. What's that? Like a thing, like a creator's thing, like a shop of sorts. Our father left for us a stalk of cabbage. We would have to climb a ladder in order to get to the top of it. All right. Okay. That the current status of the world is not like it will be in the future. That currently it's difficult to harvest and to crush grapes. In the future, maybe anova achas bekaron, you're just going to bring one humongous grape in some kind of a wagon, besfino, or on a boat, manich bezav is based on, you just leave it in the corner of your house, misapek emeno kipitus gadol, and you'll have like a huge keg's worth coming from that one huge grape. Ve'etzav masikin tachas atavshil, and there'll be wood. I don't know what from the grape. Why is there wood from a grape? I don't know, but there is. And then from the wood you can use it to burn and use for your cooking. But that when you burn the wood, it's going to release carbon into the atmosphere. Interesting. That's interesting. In the future, in Olam Haba, we're still going to be burning wood. Won't it just be like those? What are those stoves called? The I don't know, those stoves that like use like magnets, whatever those things are called. I don't know what they're called. Okay, and every grape is going to have 30 sa of wine. Shnemar, as the pasuk says, that from the grape you're going to have chomer. I'll take chomer lechomer. Say a chomer which is 30 sa. Omar Ma'dichsiv, but when Rav Dimi came from Eretz Yisrael to Bavel, he said, what does the pasuk? So what does the pasuk mean? Osri la gefen iro, ein l'cha kol gefen v'gefen she'Eretz Yisrael. You can have every grapevine in Eretz Yisrael she'in tzarich ir achas livtzor. It's going to take an entire city to harvest the grapevines of Eretz Yisrael. Wow. V'asareka b'ni asono ein l'cha kol ilan strak she'Eretz Yisrael. That in the future there won't be even non. Somebody's yelling outside. What? Someone's yelling. What are they yelling about? Maybe it's cats? I don't know, I can't hear. So called Ilan structure by Yisrael, even non-fruit producing trees, Sheinumotzi Masri Shtei Asonos, is going to produce so much fruit that it's going to take 2 donkeys to transport it. V'Shem Tomar Einbo Yain, and maybe you're going to say that, but it's not going to contain any wine in these grapes. Tamulomar Kives Bayayin Levusho, you'll be able to do laundry in all that wine. V'Shema Tomar Eno Adam, maybe you're going to say that, but the wine isn't red. Tamlomar V'dam Enav Tishtachomer, that like the blood of these grapes, so we see that it's like blood, which is like red. So you're going to do laundry in red wine. V'Shema Tomar Eno Merave, maybe you're going to say, but maybe it doesn't get you drunk. What's the point of non-alcoholic wine? Tamlomar Suso, it says Suso, which is like macis, like to take it, I don't know, macis to lure you. Maybe you're going to say that it doesn't have any taste. Anybody who tastes it, any palate that tastes this wine, is going to say, I want more. Maybe you're going to say it's only good for the youngins, but not for the not youngins. Say even no, it's even going to be gevaldig for people who are not youngins. Pashte the Krav Maksiv. What is the simple explanation of the pasuk? He also Rav Dimi, when Rav Dimi came from Eretz Yisrael to Bavel Amar, he said, that the nation of Israel said to the Eibishter, Ribono shel olam, Master of the world, Ramos beinecha, debasim mechamra, allude with your eyes, demonstrate with your eyes that is more sweet to us than wine. Ve'achve li shinecha, and show me your teeth, debasim mechalba, which is more sweet to us than milk. That it's better to smile to somebody more than giving him milk. Better to smile at somebody than to give him milk. Better to smile at someone than to give him milk. Noted. Shenemar uleven shinaim mechalav he'atugay leven shinaim el libun shinaim, whitening your teeth. Okay. Rav Chia bar Abba bar Ada Mikre Da'ad Keter Rish Lakish Hava. Rav Chia bar Ada was the Malamed, was the teacher to Rish Lakish's kids. He pager, and he came. I guess he came late one day, or he missed the day. Tzlasu Yomer for 3 days. V'lo also, and he didn't come. Ki also, when he finally showed up after 3 days, Amalei Amai pagar. So Rish Lakish says, where were you? Amalei Dalis Achas Iniach Li Abba, that my father left for me a vine of grapes, and I was harvesting it. Yom Rishon Gilmeis Eshkolos. On the first day, I harvested 300 clusters. Eshkol Legarav, and from each cluster, I was able to get a saw of wine. Yom Sheni Batzati Gilmeis Eshkolos. The second day, I also harvested 300 clusters. Shtei Eshkolos Legarav, and every 2 clusters produced a saw of wine. Yom Shlishi Batzati Mimena Gimel Meos Eshkolos, and on the third day I harvested 300 clusters as well. Shalosh Eshkolos L'Garav. This time it was 3 clusters to produce 1 saw of wine. And I didn't even get to harvest even half of all that was available to harvest. Amle Ilavdi Ipagat Hava Avda Tfei. And Rish Lakish says, look, if you wouldn't have come late, if you wouldn't have missed the opportunity to teach the kids, it would have even produced more. Rami Bar Yechezkel. So now this is interesting, because who was Rami Bar Yechezkel? Rami Bar Yechezkel, I believe, was Rav Yehuda's brother. Rav Yehuda, as we just said, that anybody who goes, we said earlier on the daf at the beginning, anybody who makes Aliyah to Eretz Yisrael is violating mitzvahs essay. And here we have his brother, I believe it's his brother, Rami Bar Yechezkel, Ikla of Bnei Brak. He visited Eretz Yisrael. He visited Bnei Brak. Chazanu lahane ize, and he saw that there were goats, the ka'achim tuse te'ene, that were eating under a under a fig tree. V'kanotiv duvsha mite'ene, and the honey from the figs was dripping. V'chel b'tayif minayu, and there was milk dripping from the goats. And the milk and the honey was getting mixed together. Omar, and Rami Bar Yechezkel says, Hainu zav ascholav udvash. This is a land that's flowing with milk and honey. Amar Yaakov ben Dustoi, milud le'ono shlosha milud, that from lud to ono is 3 mil. Pamachas kadamti baneshef. One time I got up very early, falachti ad karsule b'dvash shalteinim, and I was walking until my what are karsule? I think ankles in the honey of figs. Figs are really geshmak. Amar Rish Lakish says, Rish Lakish lididi chazili zavas chalav dvash shel tzipori. Says Rish Lakish that he saw the flowing of milk and honey of tzipori, v'avishitzer milin ashitzer milin, and it was 16 mil by 16 mil. That was the area. Amar Rabbi Bechana lididi chazili zavas chalav dvash shel kol Eretz Yisrael. So Rabbi Bechana, he saw the flowing of milk and honey of all of Eretz Yisrael. V'havekim be'michsei ad akwa de tulbanki. It was like from be'michsei to akwa de tulbanki. Chav beis parsei orka ufusio shisa parsei. It was 22 parsos long and 6 parsos wide. Reb Chelba, Reb Avira, Reb Yossi Bar Chanina, Iklu Lau Asra. Reb Chelba, Reb Avira, and Reb Yossi Bar Chanina visited a certain place. Aisu Kamayu Afarska, and they brought in front of him a giant peach. Dava Kilfas, it was like the size of a pan. Kilpas Kfar Hino, like a pans in Kfar Hino. Kilpas Kfar Hino Kamave, how big is that? Hey saw in 5 saw. Achlu Shlish, they ate a third of it. Vivkir Shlish, and they made Hefker a third of it for anybody. V'nasun Ufnei B'emton Shlish, and they gave a third of it to their animals. Maybe that's where Roald Dahl got his inspiration for his book James and the Giant Peach. The Shana Ikla Rebbe Elazar L'Asam, the next year Rebbe Elazar visited there, V'aisu L'Kameh, and they brought a peach before him. Naktu biyadeh, and he was able to pick up this peach in just one hand. V'amar, and he said, excuse me, I have to babble on. And he said, Eretz prilim lecha meiras yosheva, that a land of fruits ended up being a salty, unproductive, unfertile land because the people were such nudniks. That there was this place where there was big giant peaches, and then they became small little peaches. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi ikla the Gavla. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi visited Gavla, Chazanu lehanik tofe, da'avu kaimi ki igle, and he saw that there were these clusters of grapes in the vineyard that were lying there on the ground, and they looked like the size of calves. They were so big. He says, look, there's calves among the grapes. They said to him, no, no, this is just our clusters that we've harvested. They're so geschmack. Omar, and Rabbi Shub ben Levi says, Eretz, hachnisi perusayich, land, contain your fruits. Don't make such plentiful fruits. Because after all, who are you releasing them for? Perusayich lagoyim alalu shamdu aleinu b'chatosenu. It's just going to go to the Gentiles who have come upon us in our iniquities, in our sins. L'shana ikla Reb Chia la'asam. The next year, Reb Chia visited Gavla. Chazenu dehavu kaimei ki'ize, and he saw that this time, right? So Reb Chia experienced these clusters, and they were the size of goats, not the size of calves. And he says, wow, look, there are goats. He wasn't with, for him this was the first, and he says, wow, there are goats among the grapes. They said to Reb Chia, Zil, get out of here. Don't do like your friend did. Right? Last year they were producing like calves. Rabbi Shub ben Levi came, and now they're only like goats now. Comes Rabbi Chia, he says, oh look, it's like they're ghosts. And they said, hey, get out of here. I don't want you causing us headaches. Rabbi Shub ben Levi made us lose out on some grapes. Friends, that was Daf Kuf Yud Aleph Masechet Ksubis. Wow, what a geschmack daf. Talking all about Eretz Yisrael. We learned about the Shalosh Shvuos, which are extremely famous stuff. And all sorts of things about how geschmack Eretz Yisrael is going to be in the future. Very, very interesting stuff.